Good evening, everyone. Had a lot going on since last time we were
Oh
here
yeah,
last week.
we've been busy.
Oh yeah. Hey Cassidy. So
Well,
yeah, as you guys probably seen the picture while you were waiting for us to go live, we were sharing it to all the other groups, but that was a picture from this last weekend's event.
yeah, the entrance to this place, man, it was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That was a it was a great event.
yep,
Randall Duval Catahoula's put on an excellent event, good seminar, um, awesome testing facilities.
yep.
Um, I'll share some pictures. Obviously you saw that one whenever you were waiting. That was the entrance to the testing grounds. Just a beautiful property. And this was the
This place was built in the 1940s, and all these buildings were the original buildings on the place.
this
And
was a horse stable barn area. And Ralph's favorite, the water tower there. Just a beautiful, beautiful property. Let's see, we have this was a pond where I believe right here Jason Byer was administering a test, and those were some of his some people that he was testing that were waiting for him to finish administering this test, and they sure had some beautiful scenery to
yep,
sit around and wait as he administered it. Just a awesome property. Brad Shoemaker said he's watching from Missouri.
cool.
Awesome, welcome, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Um, so what did you think of the property? Just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. It worked well for testing. We had a lot of roads, so you were able to start and finish close to some roads and made it you can get around very well. So it was just set up perfect for testing, um, just like our first event. But
Yes,
up in Georgia, it was just a nice place.
that place was loaded with game.
Ooh, Lord,
Numerous tests. We had live deer getting up in front of us.
yep, hogs,
Yeah, yeah, hogs, turkeys. I mean, it was just
quail.
oh yeah,
I mean, it had everything.
lots of distractions,
Yep,
and a lot of those teams that tested were very new teams, young dogs, and they worked through those
yep.
challenges very well.
We had a couple of 11-year-olds. I don't know if you've got that picture or not,
I did. I don't have it on here.
but man, they were cousins, and they worked through. They actually ran the tests fast. They were the two fastest. Not that we go by fast, but it was pretty good to watch these kids go through, and both of them had distractions.
Yeah, one of them had to go by gut pile or
Gut
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 buckets.
bucket where they were trying to trap some coons, and the other boy was that was the girl. The other boy, uh, he had hog carcasses that uh, that he had to deal with, and they both did them well. Uh, didn't distract them too bad, and they both one was on lead and one was off lead. And they just did awesome. They're going to be some really good trackers. Not that they aren't now. They knew their dogs.
Well, the girl really studied the criteria.
Oh yeah, she did good.
Yeah, she said she
She
went to the website and
Yep.
studied up on the criteria. And um, the girl that I tested, I can't remember how old she was. They gave the dog to and the jacket. Oh, I can't
I want to
remember.
say 8, but
I believe it was. Just good to see the kids out there.
yep.
And what was interesting, we've been to a lot of events and tested a lot of dogs. I think all but two at that event were Catahoulas. Maybe I'm missing one,
Yeah,
too, but
there's a few others, but there was a bunch of
oh yeah,
Catahoulas.
bunch of Catahoulas, and that's probably because Duval Catahoulas
Right.
hosted the event. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was neat seeing all the different variations of
Oh yeah.
size, color,
Yep.
temperament, tracking styles. I mean, it was good to see. Um,
Some of the dogs were out of this world, especially the first day. Uh,
oh yeah, I've got
uh,
something to share with y'all on that.
Jeff Spill or Still was
Yeah, Jeff Still.
he did a phenomenal job through some serious distractions.
Oh yeah,
We didn't even know the distraction was going to be there. We laid a track, and then when we came back that afternoon, they were in there bulldozing.
yeah,
He's got some pictures of it, and
yeah. I'll show
he's
you here.
we gave him the option of rerunning them, but he said nope, he'll work through it. And whew,
Yeah, I was actually standing behind him on the test line, and the bulldozer came by, which you'll see in this video I'm about to share. And he didn't know this, but it literally bulldozed about 80 yards of the trail right at a 90-degree turn. And I was like, oh crap. And I told him, I said, hey, this isn't your fault. We'll lay you another line. He said, I think we can work through it. And man, that dog, we hit it, and she went into search mode a little bit, and she'd go to the left where the dirt was pushed up, go to the right where the dirt was pushed up, and just kind of ping pong back and forth all the way down that trail. Hit the next 90-degree turn and lined it out. But this talk about a distraction on twist. Okay, so that was at the right there was where he was fixing to make his first 90-degree turn. Works through it. We get to the next 90-degree turn to the left, and this is what I it just some amazing. This right here was the trail, what it looked like after the bulldozer went through. And that dog worked right through that and finished it out and passed the test.
Yep.
And if that wasn't enough, later on in that evening, he had a season level test. That was a started level test. Later on the evening, he had a season level test. And what happened? Bulldozer went through that line.
we didn't know the
We were
bulldozers
like,
were going to
oh
be in
my
this
goodness.
area. So it.
So then his other dog, he passed two dogs on the started level test, and then he tested both of them on the season level that evening. The other dog, Jason Bell, was the judge when the bulldozer went through.
Yeah.
The next test line, if he didn't have a bad enough day, the next test line, I shouldn't say bad day because he did pass, but if he didn't have, I mean, he already
Bad
had a
conditions.
bunch of challenges and conditions. We get on his last test line with the other dog and come up on hogs. His dog's never seen it. And it goes off. He gets the dog refocused. We make our 90-degree turn. We're working through that. We get to the next turn, and there's the hogs again.
Yeah.
But he ended up passing both. But you
Yeah.
talk about an excellent handler, some great dog work. That he put on a show.
He was on lead, and man, he did put on a show as far as on lead work. From the handler, he did some things that made me want to go start working on it.
Oh yeah,
because he definitely knew how to handle that lead,
and just had great control of his dogs.
Yep.
You know, he wanted them to woe up. They woed up.
Yep.
Just really good handler work. And a lot of these teams were new, and seeing it was a great opportunity to be able to help coach and train. The majority of these teams, they put in the work, and they did their research. You know, Randy Duvall, you could tell, has really worked with a lot of these teams, um, and it shows. And there were some gaps with some of them, and we had some coaching moments, but overall, it was a very successful event. A lot of good dog work, teams passing,
Yeah.
um, and when we got back to the event site, not the testing site, but to Randy Duvall's house, he came up to us and he said, "Man, I can't thank you guys enough. Everyone that came back was super appreciative. Said you guys were helpful,
Yeah.
and that's what this is all about. You know, testing is for me personally. You know, I used to be against it, but for me, it's just fun. It's fun to something to do in the off season. And then like seeing these young teams, they were like sponges. Oh yeah, they were excited, and we had some that didn't pass, and we had some conversations with them, and you know we were able to give them some advice and some areas that they could work on, and you know even teams that did pass, we gave them some advice and things to work on to progress to that next level. One of them is commenting right here, Brian Grove. He passed, and you know the judges that was on his line said that you know he did some really great handler work, and the dog worked good. And Brian is asking if there will be season level test offered in Mississippi. Yes, we will be willing to do that. So overall, it was great.
Yep. Did very well.
Yeah, one thing, one I guess you'd say, well, I just want to put this out there. You know, we had some hiccups in Stockton. We ran a lot of tests. There was some growing pains with new judges, some logistic stuff, and we learned from that. We improved on that. And Ralph, I'm going to commend you. You did a great job keeping things flowing. We were shorthanded on judges because one of them got COVID and couldn't make it last minute. Um, but it didn't slow anyone down. Everything went really smooth.
Yep.
You know, one thing I want to say on these tests, because I had some questions, some people call, and they ask, you know, with the different breeds, you know, someone I'm not going to mention any names, but people has expressed, well, you know, a dog pass that can only find a dead deer. Well, what's our goal? Our goal is to recover dead deer.
Yeah.
There's many different styles. There's many different strategies. You know, there's dogs that'll bay. There's dogs that'll catch. There's dogs that won't do either. But will they follow that wounded deer trail to the end? Stick with it. You work through the distractions that there may be and recover a dead deer. That's what our goal is.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how you do it. You know, not you don't have dogs that. I mean, you work mainly little dogs.
Yep. I think a lot of that worrying is there's, like you say, different styles, and you know wait times are a big part of our strategy. So we do whatever we can, hoping that we've done enough that the deer has expired.
Right.
And if that deer's expired, you know, not that we're perfect, but a high level of confidence I'm going to find that deer if it's dead. I'm going to find it anyway. It's just we hope it's dead so we don't get into the jump aspect of it, because I'm not going to run one down. So I've got to back off and give it more time. I've left the site, went to another track, come back to a site, and you know, and the deer's expired.
Right.
Or we wait a little. So that some different strategies come in to play on a lot of that. So I don't even have the option of catch. Mine will bay like crazy if I get to one. So, you know, we just assess the situation. So hopefully during these seminars and classes and workshops and different things, it's not all, there's not just one option if a deer's alive.
Right.
Uh, so, like I said, I run some pretty good percentages, and I don't have the catch mentality or catch ability. So we have to do other things.
Right.
Uh, and so I don't think it's always that catch option that,
And that's not what testing is about or
no,
designed to be. And,
no.
you know, and don't get me wrong, we won't push testing on anyone. It's just an option out there. And Jared says here, thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity. Even though I passed, the test humbled me a bit. Thanks again.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
it's a learning experience. It's fun. It keeps your dogs working, it keeps you working, keeps you in tune. And even though I have many years experience and I'm out there testing someone who has you know very little experience, I'm learning something from them as well. It's
and the testing, I would say, gets you in tune with your dog way more than actually on tracks, because you go track 5 to 10 tracks a day. And if you recover the deer, it doesn't matter. You go on a test, you have got to know your dog, and you and the dog be a team, and you've got to notice everything. And to where a lot of times on a track, it just don't matter. We don't pay attention to some of that because we find the deer. It don't matter how you find it.
right.
And so you notice a lot more stuff during this testing, which, like Jared said, um, it'll humble you sometimes because you think you might know it better than what you actually do, and that'll actually make you work with the dogs. Like I was saying, that guy, what's his name? Jeff, the one that
Yeah, Jeff
did the
Still.
season test with that the bulldozers and all. He was such a good handler on lead, and he was doing some stuff. And I went and got some stuff this week to run my Catahoula so that I could do some different things with him that Jeff was doing with his. So it just pushes you a little bit, which there's nothing wrong with that. That gets you in tune with your dog better. And just, something new comes along that I see that somebody's doing. Dang, I get envious. I want it. I want to be able to do that with my dog. And so it's just cool. I enjoy the testing way more than I thought I would two
Oh
years
yeah.
ago. And
Yeah, like I said, I'm the same way. My mindset was I put deer on tailgates. I don't need a test. I don't. And then I did run into where I had a dog that had hundreds of recoveries and just wouldn't take a mock track. And that was my excuse for not testing. Well, you know what? I got out there and I worked with that dog, and guess what? It took a mock track and it passed tests.
yep,
And like I said, we aren't pushing this on anyone.
no,
If you don't want to do it, that's fine. If you do want to do it, that's fine. It's just fun. We enjoy it. It's and I will say, when I was against it, I had some misconceptions.
yep,
And for me, I've gotten to where I really enjoy this as much or more than tracking season. I
yep.
mean, I enjoy tracking. Don't get me wrong, and I enjoy helping people and meeting new people out there. But when you get around at these events and these testing events, and you get around like-minded people, and you share stories, and you get tips,
Oh yeah.
feedback, and you know, uh,
Especially like we keep going back to those kids. Dude, their dads, you could tell they spend a lot of time with them kids. And so when they were out running the track, I was up there with the dads about them kids. And I mean,
oh yeah,
those two dads was having a ball out there.
yep,
I think they've been talking to Jason Bell all week since we've been back, um, texting and doing things, and
oh yeah.
it just, so you get new friends.
They've been active on our Facebook, and
Yep.
they ordered some
Yep.
some of our key cards that show the different hair and blood and all that. And, you know, more than anything, it's about education. And I got to share this comment right here. Them kids smoked our butts. The kids definitely put on a show. Emma and Brody, Jason Bell said Emma and Brody were very good.
Yeah,
yeah, it was a good time, and you know those kids are the future of tracking,
oh yeah,
and you know we gotta keep them or get them more involved, and that's something we've been talking about at our next seminar is having a workshop for the kids, a youth workshop, get them out there working with their dogs, and you know teaching them some things, and just getting them more involved.
yeah.
Um, show this what Michael Bragg just said right here. Everything we can learn as handlers, where it be through testing, mentoring, or watching other handlers, does nothing but make us better handler at the end of the day. Absolutely.
Yep. That's for sure.
And one thing I'll say with this testing, um, when you're working with your dog and you're training your dog or you're tracking with your dog, you miss so much that you don't even realize.
Yep.
So yesterday, we've had this dog in that has had some issues. Where you know this dog's been tracking his recovered deer, but there were some gaps, and John was struggling to figure out what was going on, and we thought we had it figured out, and then we kept running into roadblocks. So yesterday I told John, I said, look, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to lay a line. And I put some challenges in that line. I said, we are going to get to the root of this and figure out what is going on with this dog. And so I laid the line. I knew where the line was, of course. John didn't. John's handling the dog. I'm watching, I'm videoing, and everything clicked. And I realized, hey, this dog has lost confidence. And this is a 3 to 4 year old dog. And so I said, I got to call the owner and find out what's going on. And I already had an idea. And I called the breeder and I said, hey, I think this, because the breeder's the one that was in contact with me, what was going on, trying to figure all this out. I said, I think I figured it out. And he says, what? I said, I think they went through a string of bad tracks of deer that just weren't dead. And the handler was pushing the dog, trying to make something happen that wasn't there. The handler lost confidence in the dog, and then the dog lost confidence. So I called the owner, and I discussed that with him. And he's like, you know what? You're right. That is what happened. Well, now we're going to work through that. But if I wouldn't have been behind John watching, I probably wouldn't have identified that. Same way as a judge being behind you, seeing stuff that you may not see, or shoot, I'll let people come follow behind me on tests, and they'll pick stuff up that the judge may not even see. Yeah. So that was all advantages to it.
There's Brody, one of the 11-year-olds.
Yep, Brody's watching. Let's see, Mike Maynard. When I'm training my dogs, I now pay more attention to how my dogs are reacting to everything just from watching these live feeds. That way, when I'm ready to test, I know my dogs well.
Yep.
Mike, I want to offer a little bit of advice. Not only watch your dogs, video your dogs, because you're going to go back and see things that you didn't see when you were watching the dogs. Trust me, you'll see what I'm talking about. Carrie said she had her kids. She had her kids laying lines over the weekend. My son Dakota worked with Paul during this event, laying test lines and shadowing Paul and watching, helping judge and getting those kids involved.
Speaking of that kind of stuff, talk a little bit about some of the workshops.
Yeah.
Because we're we're going to have some workshops at the Alabama instead of an all-day seminar. We're going to have some breakout sessions and workshops that going to cover some of this stuff, and it's exciting because we come up with some ideas that we. I'm not going to give the ideas away, but
Yeah.
we're going to have. It's going to be some reading your dog situations.
Thought you weren't giving the ideas away.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do, but
Uh,
just different things, and
yeah,
we're going to try to help some. What was some one of the others was marketing and trying to market your, you know, you or
your
like
team.
I've got Camo Track is what I go by on my business cards and Facebook and stuff. So we're just going to give some pointers on some of that type stuff.
We're streamlining the seminar part to shorten it and have more hands-on workshops.
I think Lyle's going to be doing hit site analysis.
Yep, hit site wound bed analysis. That was a good one in Stockton, and he's going to expand on that a little more. He doesn't know it yet, but he knows now.
I was going to say Randall might not know, but we're going to have a obedience class that he's going to run.
That's right.
We'll expect a call from Randall shortly.
laying mock lines and challenges that Kerry Patterson's going and Travis Bozeman's going to be doing. They just found out it was a yes or yes. Lyle says, I always expect you to want more.
But we also, you know, some people have tested a lot, but just laying the lines and doing things in these workshops is to help you realize what's going to be on tests. And I mean, obviously, we want you to learn your dog and know your dog's reactions, but it's also helping you realize, because we're not out there to stump you. If you know what's going on, just like those kids did, nothing fazed them. She knew what was going on. She had studied it, and when it happened, she knew it was going to happen, and it didn't faze her a bit. And so that's kind of the getting you tuned in to these testing events. We're going to do a little more hands-on and before tests, just to give everybody some insight on what to expect. And through these workshops, that'll really help.
You know what?
What other stuff did we go over as far as the
field trial
workshop?
Field trial.
Yeah,
we got some fun stuff in the works on that.
Yeah, we should be able to play around with some of it in Alabama. So just some little competitions and stuff. It'll be fun, or at least we think it will be. And we come up with a name. I ain't even told you yet. The ABTA shootout.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And
this is just fun.
Oh yeah, it's nothing.
It's not for
Yeah, it's just for fun. We just coming up with something that gets everybody together and get out there, and that'll be part of it. The next event, you won't want to miss it.
That's right.
So it'll be good.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to streamline the seminar. We're going to keep it very focused on educational. Maybe we have discussed it. You know, some training stuff, some scent profile stuff, some handler stuff. One of the workshops we discussed is all handler oriented. Mm-hmm. And you want to mention what we're working on, or as far as the handler?
You're gonna have to remind me.
The handler class, online handler class.
Oh yeah. Talking about for the certification?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have a class online that when you pass that, you'll have your handler certification, and it's geared towards when and if the, which we think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, these states start cracking down, and it's already started.
Yep.
It's not. It's not like it's not. We are already being brought into the picture on some of these states, and some of the
Multiple
other
states.
states that already are this way. We're getting in to where this is the second option of certification, so that the ABTA certification will work in the states that already require certification.
Right.
So hopefully this will. We
And
hope
we're
we'll
not
have
put
it ready by Alabama, but
yes.
we're already working on it, and it'll just further everything along so that uh,
And this is going to be
be more legitimate.
and this is going to be a no cost.
Yes.
This is this is going to be a no cost thing. We just want to help educate. It will involve things such as hit site analysis, wound bed analysis, wait times,
Property line
yes,
issues,
property lines, laws,
which
safety.
let's stop with the property line thing. That isn't just us. That's also, not that they're going to be taking this test, but that's one of the big issues with the law enforcement is property lines.
Right.
I mean,
In some states, you have a right to retrieve, but the majority you don't.
right. Um, so it just, we're going to gear up on some of that stuff, and uh,
Yeah, and please don't take this as we are pushing for any state to require this. We are not. We are simply offering an option to prepare in case it is ever needed. This is we are not a proponent for pushing for unnecessary laws.
yeah.
We are a proponent of educating and preparing.
But there's also a fine line in that if you don't do something, somebody that's not a tracker is going to push for laws that doesn't coincide with the way we want them to. So there's a fine line there, that when do you start and when do you not do something?
Right.
And if you don't get ahead of them, it's you're going to have to start trying to correct the laws, because at
Which
that,
is next to impossible.
correct. So you dang sure don't want people that's not in the tracking world to make the laws. We want to have something to do with that. Um,
And
so
not saying we will help if someone asks, but we as a tracking community, as trackers, we're going to have to at some point make that decision of when.
oh yeah,
Um,
and you hope it's not too late.
right, like we had talked about earlier, it's easier to create good laws than to correct bad laws.
Yep.
So I just want to really emphasize that we are not pushing for this stuff.
Yeah.
We are simply like this handler certification. This is just an option. You guys can do it, or you don't have to. But we're offering an option.
Um, but bear in mind, things are happening behind the scenes that y'all might not think it's happening, but they're, whether it be from antis or whatever, it's getting pushed. People
Right.
are getting pressure to do things that we don't agree with. And so we've got to watch that.
And one thing I want to say, I seen it in another state. Why in the world are hunters fighting with hunters? Why are hunters throwing another hunting style under the bus? You know, we as trackers, yes, we use dogs and we are out there to help the hunting community to recover these deer, to help conservation. Why in the world would another hunting organization be against us? And I'll just put it out there. It's a dog hunting organization that's throwing tracking under the bus because they're being scrutinized.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Squash that crap.
Yeah.
Let's work together. We're all on the same team. And if we don't work together, we keep
They're
fighting
gonna
against
knock
one
both
another.
of us out.
We're all gonna lose it. And that's just sorry, I'm getting passionate here, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, we actually been dealing with this all day today.
Right.
This situation, so it's so we know it's happening because we're dealing with it, and it just I don't know. It's just getting it's a lot more than people want it to, but it's happening.
Yep. Kenny Frost. Well, Kenny Frost said right here, hunters themselves are bashing trackers just as much as the anti-hunters. And let me say this: a lot of this stems from crap that is put on social media.
Yep.
Quit posting your dog's baying, catching. Some things need to be left in the woods. I understand you may be proud of your dog. Share it with your buddy. Show them a video in person. Quit putting that crap on social media because that is what is under the microscope.
Yep.
And that's what's leading to this stuff. Because
Yeah.
and keep in mind, you take pictures of your dogs with a deer, put a leash on them for the pictures. You know, don't take a picture with 8 dogs
Yeah.
and 1 deer. You know, be mindful of what you're putting on social media.
Because somebody else is. They're watching. We get told all the time, the game wardens, they watch this stuff. Yep. And it's just, you can only dangle it in front of them for so long, and they're going to do something about it.
Yep.
Luckily, we've got some great game wardens that we know that they keep us informed on stuff, and they're not trying to do anything, but they've got a job to do, and they're going to stop it.
And for those of you that were there in Stockton and got to listen to that game warden speak, he said he put it out there. Hey guys, quit putting the crap on social media. We are watching this stuff.
Yep.
Now he is a proponent of what we do, and he supports us 1,000%.
Yep.
But like he said, there's a line that doesn't need to be crossed.
Yep.
So sorry to get off on a rant and a tangent, but I'm passionate about that. I love tracking. I don't want to lose tracking. I don't want to see anyone else lose tracking. Right now, we are our own worst enemies. And if we will police each other and police our friends, police these Facebook groups, the YouTube videos, it's cool. I enjoy seeing some of these videos and stuff. Some of it I don't enjoy seeing, and some of it others don't enjoy seeing. But we've got to protect what we love. So I'll get off my tangent here because I'm very passionate about this. So we missed some stuff. I'll go back up here. Mike Alguire. No matter how many videos I take and rewatch 100 times and how much time I spend with the dogs, I just can't get them to stop chasing and tracking biscuits. What's y'all's advice on this for me to do? Put the biscuit eaters up. Oh. For those of y'all that don't know, it's an inside joke. I've messed with Mike for years now and called his dogs biscuit chasers, and it's kind of stuck. So, Brad Shoemaker has a question. At what point does a wounded deer start putting out interdigital gland scent that signals to the dog that it's wounded? I like how he worded that, because there are always chemical signals coming from the interdigital gland. Because there's 5 different categories. There's signalers, which is what the declining health is, or there's signalers with, alarms is what the declining health is under. Signalers. They don't know exactly when that happens. And I can tell you, based on just tracking experience and watching the dogs work, you see it more in young dogs, and you probably agree with this. When you have a younger dog, you'll see them more pheromone oriented, if that's what your focus was on training. And you'll see those younger dogs sometimes they won't lock in right away, and you get what 60, 80 yards in, and boom, they lock in. Is that where the pheromone kicks in? I don't know. I feel like it is. Um, and then, uh, sorry, we had some people walk in. Um, so I feel like that's what it is, but no one really knows. And the the interdigital, the way that it works, it's comprised of 46 volatile compounds. And you think about how many different mixtures you can make with 46 compounds. That's a lot. So scientists have been studying this and they've been breaking it down. And like I said, they have broke it down into the 5 categories, and there's subcategories underneath that. And they have identified like the declining health aspects, the alarms, like a deer stomping its foot, alarming that there's danger in the area. Um, breeding cycles, and just there's a lot that goes on there. So to really answer that, we don't know.
We don't know, but I think it's pretty quick.
Sometimes
Pretty
it
quick.
seems like it's pretty quick. I think it all depends on where it's hit
Plus, I think,
and how quick the health starts declining.
but also, some people might disagree with this. I believe the deer can signal that, but it also can lose that
Oh yeah,
and regain its composure. That might be 100 yards. It might be 200. Whatever that distance is, where he figures out. All right. And I use the analogy just like you. I could cut you in the arm. You're going to panic. Your heart rate's going up. Your adrenaline's going up. And then all of a sudden, you're going to figure out, wait a minute, this ain't so bad.
yep.
Well,
Once your
a
heart
deer
rate starts
does
coming
that
down,
too, and a
yep,
deer calms down. That's how they can live with bad wounds. Uh, I think they go through that stage, and I can see it in the dogs.
oh yeah,
I can tell you that over there by that stick is where it stopped acting like it's wounded, and it went to acting like it's a live deer again, or an unwounded deer
right,
again, and totally different. But that's also goes back to knowing your dogs well.
right,
You can
and
tell
proper
that.
training.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
there's
it,
a whole scent for profile. There's way more than just interdigital, and we know that. There's disturbed earth, broken vegetation, blood, the iron in the blood, the danders and dander, and then dander in the blood as it contacts the hide on the way out. There's all kinds of, I mean, just so many scents on the trail that factor in. Um, so let's see. Alex Hood said, "Sorry I'm late. Y'all still ugly though." And you still have, well, I can't use those words on here. Dogs that pee on people. But hmm, sounds like the deer hunters in Alabama, they are mad over a certain few counties. It's a shame. It's a shame that hunters are fighting with hunters. Um, Kenny Lofton says the hunters fighting hunters is the same as folks offering more money to timber companies, causing leases to go up. That happens every day. Every day. Chuck Darby says we have a 2 dog limit in Mississippi now. And I don't know why that is, but I can imagine it's self inflicted.
yep.
And social media gets you. Tommy Jackson says technology is our worst enemy. It is, but it also can be a great resource.
Mike Payton.
Mike Payton, let's look at that one here. Regulators play the give and take. Hopefully, they can be fair when they give because they're going to take no matter what. With that said, most of the time they don't know what we do or understand what we do. Not just us, but when they're writing a lot of legislation or rules or laws, however you look at it, like the FWC, they just have rules and we that are laws that we have to abide by. Um, a lot of times they don't know, they're ignorant to it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have someone like us or another experienced tracking group or teams or like-minded individuals with the same experience educating them the proper way, then you're going to end up with some real crappy
Yeah.
regulations.
And for instance, say probably one of the biggest things is on leads. And darn, I go with game wardens, and they'll tell me to unhook them because they know my dogs.
Right.
It's not the lead part; it's the can you control your dog part.
Right.
And so, if we can prove that we can control our dogs, we might be able to get rid of the leash law. Not saying we can, but that's the problem that they have is they want the dog controlled.
Right.
Well, I get away with it a lot because they know I can control the dogs. So it's
which is another reason we've developed the off lead test,
right,
to show that these dogs off leash can follow a wounded deer trail through the distractions, not get off the line. And if they do get off the line, you have control and can recall them. And that's also why we have the property lines in there where you recall your dog. Your dog has to wait.
Yep.
You know, all of this was developed for a reason. Are we pushing it for legislators? No. We are preparing in case it ever comes to that. Because like Mike says here, it's a give and take. Well, you know what? When you go before these legislators and you're trying to get things put in place to protect you, because that's the goal right now with some of these states, there are no laws. Like the game warden said in Georgia, there's no laws with tracking. But eventually there may come a time where they start looking at it. And if you are not prepared, don't put all your cards out there. Don't say, hey, let's do this, and this. No, put a little bit out there that's vague is enough to protect you. Then if they rebuttal with something, you have a response. Well, this is what we're doing. How about this?
Yeah.
You know, so when you start talking about legislation and how to deal with it, you have to have the right people representing you to know what to do. And because too many times people react on emotions, and the emotion says, oh, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Keep in mind,
while you're not doing something, they're doing something.
Right. And they don't understand or know all the time.
Yep.
So don't put it all out there. And I'm not saying that certification should be a requirement. It is in some states, and that we're not here to push for that. But you know what? It may come down to it at some point, and if you're prepared, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah. Plus, if we get this out there and we get a strong enough presence, they're going to come to us for advice if we get to enough of the game wardens and the lieutenants and the captains, and they'll put us on with the people
right
that we can get to stop some of this stuff before it ever happens.
And what happened in Florida just a few years ago, what, 6, probably 8 years ago now, Florida didn't have leash law. Well, what did they do? They created a deer dog program where you have to register your property as a deer dog property. It has to be X number of continuous acres. When they wrote that, they wrote in a leash law for tracking dogs, and they slipped it in. And according to them, it wasn't meant to be the way that it is, and it wasn't. They say it wasn't intentional. However,
it's there.
It's there. Well, how hard that is to combat?
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there. Even though they recognize, we brought it to their attention and said, hey, this was slipped in. Oh, we didn't mean for it to be that. We're going to work on that. Well, that was 4 years ago?
Yep.
It's still there.
Still there.
In fact, they revised it this year and still left it in there. So keep in mind, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Kenny Lofton, I'm getting on my laptop shortly to get a membership. I just learned about you guys a week or so ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed the education I have gotten already. I have a blue tick that's 6 months old. I'm currently training to track. We
Cool.
appreciate that, Kenny. It's,
Yep.
you know, I've heard people make comments that, we're in this for the money, the personal gain. I'm far, far into this, and I know you are as well. We ain't making money.
Oh Lord, no.
We are anyone that is in tracking thinking they're going to make money is not making money. It's whether you're tracking, whether you're running an organization, whether you're doing testing, you are not making money. It may have that perception, but guess what? It's not there. We do this because we love it. We love growing the tracking community, um, and just have a passion for tracking. And you know, any organization with tracking will tell you that.
Stacy right there. He's talking about the hooves.
Stacy says we don't use hooves for training unless the deer runs over 30 yards. Yep, I can agree with that.
I actually had a lady that, for that opposite reason, and was frustrated with her dog, and come to find out she was using feet from a deer that had been hit by a car, which I'm assuming never put off the pheromone scent. And she's been using it, getting frustrated with her dog. And I said, "Your dog's doing just what it's supposed to do. That, in that situation, that's not a pheromone scent." And I said, "You got to get hooves," just what Stacy was saying. So she figured out her problem. I hadn't heard back from her, but hopefully she got that fixed.
And I will tell you, it's better than nothing if that's all you have. I mean, you're teaching scent discrimination and the dog to follow a trail. Is it ideal? No. Yeah. But if you don't have anything,
dogs that are strict pheromone,
right?
They won't take it. So,
okay.
What about Mitchell?
Mitchell was saying that he agrees with you about it cutting off.
Oh yeah.
So let's see, Chuck Darby here. I have seen my dog not want to take a track because the deer isn't hurt, then take a track with less sign and actually get the deer. Right. I mean, when I get a call and someone says, "Oh, I got tons of blood, tons of great blood," I'm like, "Ugh, this is not going to be fun." That's how it is. Most of the deer that we recover doesn't have much sign. Randall Duvall, you guys did an amazing job this past weekend. Can't wait to see you all again in May. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir. We had an awesome time.
And I tell you what, we are actually, we are thankful for Randall. He gave us a little insight on some things that we're going to do in our future seminars. He doesn't realize it, but we learned some things from him that we're going to utilize moving forward. And that's how it is. Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah. So my dad used to always tell me. Let's see. How do you go about training for property line crossing? We worked a 5-minute wait into our last mock track, put her in a downstay and started her, which is how we start all of our tracks, and she shut down. So a lot of people, I tell people this, that happens a lot. And I tell everyone, train how you track. If you are going to run into property lines, which you will, if you track long enough, you better implement that into your training, because a lot of dogs will either shut down after that 5-minute wait. Not a lot, I should say. Some dogs will shut down after that wait. I've seen dogs just start roaming around. One thing I recommend, and you can put them in a downstay if that's how you want to train. I recommend just clipping them on the leash.
I tie mine to a tree.
Yeah, clip them on the leash. And
I don't want to be holding them because they're not going to stop.
Right.
They want to go, go, go. I just get tired. I put them on a tree. Next thing you know, they're sitting there waiting. But
right. Yeah, you got to train how you track, and that's key. And it sounds like you're on the right track with that.
Yep.
It's going to take repetition. Eventually, that dog is going to know, hey, yeah, we're waiting. I got to go back to work when you tell me to go back to work. So just stick with it, and you'll see the results. Um, I may miss something here, but I know I saw Stacy's on, so she'll keep me straight. Let's see. It's one thing that gives some of the trackers around here a bad name with people not having control of their dog and running tracks that they are not capable of recovering where other trackers could have recovered it. It's kind of a touchy area right there because I will say this: you you need to know the limitations of you and your dog as a team. Um, you know, talk. I hate talking about banging and catching on this but there's some states that it is legal. If your dog will not do that, and you think that deer could be recovered by that, phone a friend.
Yep.
But
That goes back to the networking and having your close tracking friends a phone call away too.
right,
Um, or sometimes the dog, you've done it where your dog just shut down. It wasn't that it's not capable, it just wasn't on that day.
ran the dog ragged, wore
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
I've had that happen with others. Or the trackers start doubting their dog. Um, and I just, most of the time, I don't come out to find the deer. I come out to reassure him that his dogs were doing good. And that's how it ends up most of the time
right.
is we just confirmed that your dogs were doing okay. You were just doubting them and you shouldn't have. And we didn't recover it, but we found different things from bringing a fresh dog out, either more blood or a different type of blood that meant that it wasn't recoverable. And
Right.
so,
And don't bash a team because
no,
they have a dog that tracks a different style than what your dog may do.
yeah,
At the end of the day, can they recover a dead deer?
yeah. I'm coming to help my buddy that needs me to back him up faster than I'll go to a regular track. I'll
Right.
put a track off if somebody needs me. Just that's how much I care about getting their confidence back.
And one thing I want to touch on is I've heard it a lot lately. Oh, I found deer behind this guy. I found deer behind that guy. You know what?
Yeah.
Are you out there for personal gratification and ego, or are you out there to
I
help
mean,
the
it feels
hunters?
good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want. I want the trackers. Actually, I want the trackers to call me if they have any doubt.
Right.
They'd rather call me themselves than the hunter to call me.
That's right.
And so, hopefully, our guys around here, they know we all feel that way. So it's just not a ego trip because that's what gets you in trouble.
And how you have those conversations with others is how it's going to dictate how it's going to that relationship's going to be.
Yep.
If you're just out there bashing and putting them down, or putting down someone whose dog may not bay or catch, or someone putting down a bay and catch dog when it's legal in that state, you know what? You're not going to get anywhere with those people. You know,
And
sit down and
also,
talk and discuss limitations and strengths and weaknesses and work with each other.
and
What do you say?
also, the tides will turn one day.
Oh yeah.
Be careful with that one.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Nobody's perfect.
So Jacob Thomas asked, "Where can I find that law?" Jacob, I will send it to you. But if you look up the Deer Dog Permit Program, it specifically states the exception is leashed tracking dogs. There's plenty of websites you can go on also and find that um, it's leash tracking dogs. But I will send that to you. I've sent it to many people who question it. It is, trust me, it's there. And I also have it in email form from the FWC. It sucks, and they claim that that wasn't the intent. But guess what? It's there. And although they haven't fully enforced it on private land, they can and they do have the ability. So that's why we have to be careful, and that's something that we have been working on. They're just not. They haven't changed it yet. Okay, let's see here. Kenny Goldman, enjoy tracking for other hunters and helping them recover the harvest. There have been several deer that would have been coyote food if it was not for our tracking dogs doing their job. I do agree 100 that we got to control what we put on social media. Absolutely. And Lyle says Judy sends me several tracks like that every year. They do. Those guys network great together, and I know we do around here. This is funny. So Brittany Barnes says, ready to meet you again, Kenny, at the Alabama event in May. I'll be better prepared as far as foot attire goes. No tennis shoes, I promise. Lamar is looking forward to it. So she came there to test, and we laid the line through water. We didn't know it. We didn't know who we were testing or the dog or anything, but it is what it is. It's real world. We're laying a test line. We went through water, and we go to get her for her test, and she's wearing tennis shoes. It did not slow her down. She went right on through it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again, Brittany. She was green. In fact, and I almost hate to admit this, but sometimes you think, I don't know how this is going to go. We could sense that there just didn't seem to be a lot of experience there. And then she comes out and says, I really don't know what I'm doing or if I can pass this, but she was a trooper, and that dog was spot on. I love it. I love watching good dog work.
Kaylee Bryant right there. Next one.
Okay.
When is the next one?
Kaylee Bryant. When is the next tracking seminar? Our next one is
May
2nd through the
first weekend of May.
Yes. It'll start on that Friday. I'll pull it up. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And
then the weekend after that is up in Mississippi.
Yep. The first one's going to be in Alabama, kind of between Greensboro and Demopolis at the State Cattle Ranch. And then Chuck and Brandy Darby with Randy Duvall and the ABTA in North Mississippi. Those events are listed on our Facebook page as well as our website. Oh, look, James is going to go to Alabama.
Who is it?
James Shoup.
Hey.
Yeah,
cool.
That's awesome. And thank you, Carrie, for posting that link for Jacob. Appreciate that. Coda Stewart can't wait for Bama. Yeah, I'm excited. Coda has really stepped up. He's turned into a great judge.
Yeah, he's excited.
Oh yeah. And speaking of judges, we have had an influx of applicants come in, and we're excited. A lot of states, Iowa, Arkansas, 6 or 7 in Alabama, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I mean, just all over. It's exciting stuff.
Good wake up to.
We had an invite to another state in the Midwest to host an event. Where do you want me to go up to?
Twisted. Jeffrey. Up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's get down. Everyone should incorporate a bulldozer into their training shack. Jeff, if you missed it, we did share the video of the bulldozers, and we talked about how phenomenal you worked through that. You and your dogs, great handler, and you never let it phase you. I was so appreciative of that, because so many times people get upset, they'll throw their sucker in the dirt. he never wavered. I said, man, we'll lay you another line. He said, we'll work through it.
It,
You know, just
like I've
calm.
said, shoot, I've had tracks go from the night before, go in the next morning, and a timber crew come in, and you got to work through it.
That's
And
right.
so he did. That was awesome. So it's real life stuff.
Oh yeah, I share this all the time. I know Randy Vick does. Randy and I tracked one right through the middle of a working sawmill. They were out there working. That deer ran right through the middle of it. Just a lot of real world stuff. Um, Cameron Moore, thank you, Lyle Avis. He has came out of his way to back me up and to double check me just to make sure we weren't missing things at times.
Yeah.
Ralph, you and I have done it. Myself, James, Kim, Jason Byer, Mike Alguire, Lindsay, Crystal, Jeremy, all of us work together. Yep. Jeff, I mean, it's just even when there's times that we don't get along, not saying you and I, but some other trackers out there where we've had differences that have caused us to go separate ways, we still are there for each other.
Yep.
No matter what, because we're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, when you can pick up the phone and call someone who you're having issues with at the time and ask for help, you know that person is in it for the right reasons. They're not in it for personal gratification, personal gain, or egos. They're in it to help the hunters, and that's what it's all about.
James, another one. Shoot. Be careful, James. You're fixing to get in up to your eyeballs.
Yeah, that's the one I.
No, he's talking about going to the next one.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier.
That was Alabama, and then he's wants to go to Mississippi.
Oh.
Right there.
Billy Hodgson. Oh, we got to mention this. So Billy has offered to provide fish for a fish fry again in Alabama. Excited about that.
Yep.
That was delicious in Stockton. Chuck Darby here.
Cassidy, you got to bring your son. I need some help cooking.
There you go. I had a lady take an excavator and tore up 5 acres of gravel pit trying to find her deer before calling me. Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah, I see it. They're trying to get to Mississippi. Looking forward to getting one in Iowa. Yes, we would love to have one in Iowa. And Jeff has actually spoke with us. And hopefully Jeff doesn't mind me saying this, but Jeff has began the process to become a judge, and I think he will be absolutely phenomenal. Because I'm telling you, he's a great handler, great dogs, great trainer.
Been tracking for 25 years.
Yes. Jacob Thomas, I will get with you after this. Let's discuss this outside of this podcast because it is there. I promise you, is there. I'm not going to tell you something that's not. Just give me time to get through this. It is definitely there. Darren Miner, are you still working on thinking about coming Northeast to hold an event? Darren, we would love to, but we do not live in the Northeast. We do not know the property, the land. If someone can help us out, we are willing to do the work. Yeah. But we don't live there. We don't know who has property, where the property is. So if anyone in the Northeast is willing to help us at least find an area, we will do the rest of the work. What do you think about tracking through fresh burns, less scent, or better? This has been a big debate. And let me tell you, last year at an event, there was some fresh burns. A lot of people complaining the dogs couldn't work through it. I seen some fine dog work through those burns. So I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I will say this: I've seen some fine dogs.
What I seen was it didn't bother too many dogs.
Right. So I'm not going to say that someone may use it as an excuse or not. It may have been a legitimate complaint. There may have been other factors outside the burn, but I can tell you I've seen some fine dog work through those burns. Let's see. Not sure if you discussed this or incorporated this into a training, but multiple deer shot at the same site has caused me problems. The particular track that messed me up, the deer had crossed each other's path at least 4 times. I do incorporate that. I incorporate grid searches, other dogs, other animals, multiple deer. It's a lot of work, and most people's probably not going to do it, but it's not a bad idea. Train how you track. Have Billy call me. I have deep fryer I can bring if needed. Here's your response. I'm thinking about going to Bama. He thought getting to cook was the coolest thing. There you go. Look, Lyle's putting in a request for where to be in Iowa. He must have a place to stay. I know he does, but I'm just saying. There's that selfishness of Lyle coming out. Nah. Let's see. I had one this season that shot 2 deer from the same stand, and the hunter didn't tell me about the second one. They ended up crossing past mid-track and threw my dog off. Once I knew about the second deer, I was able to get my dog worked out on the second deer, but coyotes ended up getting it. We got a bunch of Mike Alguire's 2 deer, 1 stand. I think every track Mike goes on is 2 deer, 1 stand.
What were they saying about Dubuque?
That's where Lyle wants. He wants it as close to there as possible. It would be a great location.
That's northeast.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 1,500 acres.
Do you really?
Yep.
When are we going?
I pretty well.
Lyle, looks like it's in the works.
I got a place.
We got a place. So let me make sure I haven't missed any comments. I think I got most of them or all of them. Let's see. Yep. So I have 2 UBT1 certified dogs in Iowa. What would be the difference in ABTA certification? I'm glad you asked. So, Brian, the biggest difference is we have a lot more emphasis on the handler aspects. So as you go through our testing program, you have like our what you would say our level 1 or our started test. We have you do a hunter interview. We also have a property line where you ask permission to cross. There's also some practices in place for more consistency. We have a minimum distance and a maximum distance. We have a minimum lay time and a maximum lay time. But the key things is the handler side. So although there's not as much difference at that level, the next levels is where you really see the difference. So the started level, we show you the hit site and we show you the direction of travel. You get to the next one, we do not show you the direction of travel. We will show you the hit site. Well, since you've already got the hunter interview down, and hopefully if you didn't have it down, we gave you some advice that will help you, and you're going to do another hunter interview, but you're also going to do a hit site analysis, and you're going to investigate that hit site and see where it may have been hit. Jeff will tell you, I created a hit site on his season level test, and he got it. He said, I think it could be this or this, and then he reached down, he felt a little bit of grit and bone. and he nailed it. I think this deer's leg shot. I had short hair that I shaved off the leg. So I guess you'd say the two are seasoned. That's one aspect. You're going to do a hit site analysis. Then when you get to the wound bed, although you are not required to find the wound bed as you get close. So if you're tracking, say, a little off the trail, and you're progressing forward parallel, that's fine. But the judge is going to call you over to that to investigate that wound bed to see if there's consistency in the sign. Well, let's say you saw a little bit of bone at the hit site and you said leg and going to go on it right away. You get to the wound bed and you see gut matter. You might say, hey, it, it's only been an hour or 2 hours. We're seeing gut sign. We should probably back out and let's come back to this later. Although that's not what you're going to do. You're going to progress forward on the test just to show that you have that mindset. And a lot of this isn't pass or fail. I mean, this is education moment, teaching, training, coaching. And then there's going to be a scent challenge on that test. Could be zigzag, spiral, something to simulate a scent challenge, scent pool that you have to work through. And then at that level, you're going to have a property sign where you have to stop your dog, don't go across the property, wait 5 minutes like you're asking for permission,
or recall permission. Your dog back if
right.
It's on the off lead.
Yep. Or stop it before it gets there to recall it to you because you're getting close to the property line and maintain control going up to it and wait 5 minutes. Then our finish level test, that is a beast in its own. That is, we don't show you where the hit site is. We give you a 30-yard area. You have to do a controlled search with your dog and find the line and progress it forward. You have 10 minutes to progress it forward before you get a call back. It will be grid searched. There will be another dog on it. Let's see. There's other animal scent challenges along the trail. There's a scent cap on the trail. This is all real world stuff that we're incorporating into our testing. And I keep saying it's a progression design system so that as you go through this process, you are progressively getting better and working and gaining more knowledge. And we have some more in the works that's going to be really, really good. Yeah. Try not to give it away, but really good stuff. One of them I'll give away because this is kind of my passion. I'm wanting to see, and I'm working on developing a multi-dog off-lead test.
Yep.
And that John and I have already started working on it and running some exhibitions. So being able to control multiple dogs in the line, multiple dogs staying true to that line, a recall on multiple dogs, and it's going to be fun. And there's other reasons for that test. And like I said, we're not pushing for anything, but we are preparing. But the biggest thing is having fun and getting out there working your dogs. So these tests also, we tie in the mental aspect. Like Mike saying, you will have Carrie Patterson yapping nonstop during the entire test. Not only her, but her dog's in the box, adding a distraction. How many times have you tracked barking dogs at the neighbors?
Yeah.
You got to work through that. Or Mike ran a test. We ran a test with Mike near my house, and poachers shot a deer on the road during the test. And Mike's like, holy crap. Luckily, his dog didn't break and run. He was able to control his dog and focus his dog on that trail. That wasn't staged, but there will be a little smack talking, just like a real hunter. I asked Mike on his test, did you bring a hog dog or a deer tracking dog? He got to struggle at one point. I'm like, man, is this your first track? You know what you're doing? I mean, And this is stuff that happens on real tracks. So you got to have your mental game there too. How do you handle a obnoxious drunk? Control the track.
Yep.
Um, Chuck Darby. How many times have you had people to put their sweaty cap or clothing over the last blood to mark it? All the time, but my dogs, I don't give a crap about the blood, so it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother the dog. I would rather them mark it with something.
Next one there.
And they will throw a wild hog in test to cause a Mexican standoff between your dog and the hog. We touched on that one too earlier, Jeff. Oh man, that was some good stuff. And I'm telling you, Jeff is such a good guy, and he has such a good attitude and mindset. It's just a pleasure.
That's because he's confident.
That's right. And he should be. He's got some great dogs.
Yeah.
Great dogs. And I'm looking forward to watching them run their finish level test.
Heck yeah.
It's going to be good stuff because that test will test a handler. And I know Jeff is a great handler.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Let's see. Yeah, so if y'all have any more questions or comments, get them in. Let's see if I missed anything here.
Speaking of the Alabama, y'all get if you plan on testing, go ahead and sign up because I believe the finished is already full.
Yes.
So we've got quite a few finishes that we got to do, and
we might be able to squeeze in one or two potentially.
It could be close to being maxed out on a couple or on the. I know the finished will be, but the others just just go ahead and sign up. So my main reason so we can schedule and so we can plan and because based on how many tests we have dictates how many judges we need. So that goes hand in hand.
Right.
So
which it looks like we're going to have a lot of judges, which is great. A lot of people coming forward. This is really growing, which is great. I mean, like I said, the biggest purpose of this is to promote working dogs in the off season, educating. That's our biggest thing. We want to educate the community.
Yeah.
So, Mike Alguire, I honestly enjoyed it. It brought more reality to the test than what is already there. I think it's more of a handler distraction than the dog. It was difficult, stressful, but fun. Absolutely. Shoot, I was getting stressed out watching Mike. I'm like, golly, man, come on. Your dog's telling you to go. What are you doing? And it was just his nerves, and we were rooting for him. He went that far. We still don't know how he got there, but he got there.
Next one down.
Yep, Brian.
There's no dates for Iowa, but we're working on it.
Yes, and it sounds like we have the property, and I'm sure even Jeff can help us out there and will help us out. I know he will.
And we've got the same owner from Georgia has land in Iowa that we can do. So we just got to get it scheduled.
Will there be snake avoidance course at the Alabama one? It's something we need to look into.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll go that far. I know it was well worth it to do it. At least I was satisfied. I did 4 dogs at the last event. So we'll check that out.
Yeah, we will.
What's the next?
Let's see. Y'all have to deal with traps on track much down there. Heck of a distraction for dog and handler. Maybe different types of traps, but yes, they're. I've been up on hog traps, coon traps. I mean, snares with hogs in them. So let's see. Brian, these ABTA tests are so worth the time and distance to do, always learning and always progressing. Appreciate that. Um, in my short 3 years of tracking, I really enjoy those tracks that the client will say, I know the deer didn't go this far or that way, and we either end up bumping it or finding it. It's happened a few times. I find it sometimes hard to try to ignore the client's talk. I, I know basically told them from the get go before the track starts that my dog is going to be running this track. I trust my dog. I get it. Some dogs pick up right away, and some dogs will miss the track, which I've done. Sucks, but just got to trust the dog. Yes, and I will say this, and I'm going to throw Jason Bell out there as I do all the time when this comes up. When Jason was early on in his tracking, he struggled with trusting the hunters too much, and sometimes I think he still does. And I'm not saying that in a bad way about Jason. Just he wants to please the hunter. Well, he came with me, and at this particular time, like I said, this was early on in his tracking. He was doubting his dog, and I knew his dog. I knew his dog had it in it, and was could do the right thing. So I said, "Hey, come with me, tag along." So I get a call, and I said, "Jason, I want you to run your dog on this one. I'm leaving mine put up. If we need her or him, actually it was him at the time. If we need him, we will get him out." We go in there. Jason's talking to the hunter, recapping the shot, and Freddie starts down a trail, and the hunter says, "No, it didn't go that way. It went this way." Jason recalls his dog back, and I immediately intervened, and I didn't tell him what I was doing. I said, "Hey, let's go over here. Let's go back to where your stand was, and let's look at it and let's analyze everything." And as we're walking, Jason's calling his dog. I said, "No, Jason, just let Freddie be. Let's let him just check things out." What I was doing is I was distracting Jason and the hunter so that Freddie could go to work. By the time we got to the deer stand, Freddie was barking at a dead deer. And Freddie went the direction the hunter said the deer didn't go, that Jason was calling the dog off of. So that was a valuable lesson learned by him. You know, my response to hunters whenever they try to tell me which way the dog needs to go or which way the deer went and the dog wants to go a different way, I say, "Hey, let's just let the dog get it out of their system. If they go the wrong way, guess what? We can restart them and put them in the direction that you want to go." And I found that's the best way to combat that.
Yeah.
So it looks like that got some comments coming through. Let's see. Carrie said, "I've never been to Iowa." Well, you're going. That's a yes or a yes question. No humidity and very few mosquitoes. The main reason I defected from Mississippi. Boy, that'd be nice. Lyle said, pulled Zeta out of a foothold and she went right back to work, but scared the heck out of me.
Was Mike saying?
You and Ralph look like you need a nap.
It's because we've been working all day.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, we're not some lightweights that just kick back and put our feet up in a tractor and sit on Facebook.
Yeah, play music.
Here we go. If I let Titan handle Junebug for a started test, would I have to go behind him and do a started with her to progress her to seasoned? So we will answer that, but that brings up something else that we've been talking about. No, you can let Titan handle and you can handle Junebug on the season. However, one thing that we have seen become an issue is multiple people going on a test with one dog and both people trying to handle it.
And it's been with, not every time, but most of the time it's been with a kid.
Yeah. We've had two people on the test, one correcting the dog with a GPS while the other one's trying to handle the dog, it will be one handler for the dog.
Yep.
People can tag along on the test if they want to, but it'll be one handler, one person controlling the dog.
Yeah. The other one was a dad with a kid,
Right.
and he was actually doing more harm than good, but
didn't realize it.
You gotta we gotta, and judges, if you're listening, you stop that.
Yep.
As far as immediately, one handler, and that's it. If they don't stop it, it'll be a fail.
Yep. So Kerry Patterson's replying to Chris, you'll get to where you can tell them how the track is going to go before you even start a lot of times. It's an awesome thing when you tell them what's going to happen, and then they watch everything you said was going to happen end up happening in front of their faces just as you told them. Oh, yeah. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes from knowing your dog. You've spent time behind your dog. You've ran mock tracks with your dog. You track with your dog, and you know your dog. That's when that comes into play.
Yeah.
I got to put that one on there. Jeff is full of crap, too. Oh, boy. Here we go. Mike says, I wish that's all there was to it. Well, that's all we see, Mike.
That's it. That's all you post.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had some good stuff on this one.
Yep.
Some good questions, good feedback. I'm super excited about Alabama. I'm excited about the new workshops we're putting together.
They're going to be fun to execute, but they've been fun to come up with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, super excited. And Ralph, you're having a procedure done tomorrow. You probably won't be up to this next week, will you?
We'll see, but probably not.
So there may be a chance that we may not be live next week, or maybe I'll just go live. I don't know. Probably no one wants to just hear me, but maybe I can get a guest to come on while Ralph's healing up. So let's see. And it's not going to show all of it, but I'll read it. This is Judy Catrick. I'm not even sure how to make this comment. Have been trying to figure this out. I have done very little training with Mossy Brook and Kwesi on mock tracks. Their body language on actual versus mock tracks was a bit different. I noticed this on all three levels of their test. I'm still trying to decipher the pheromone issues that could have caused this. I actually was having a little difficulty reading the dogs at times on their test. I need to do more studying on pheromone, I'm thinking. Judy, we need to get together. I got a lot of good information, and we could bounce some things back and forth with each other and, possibly sharpen each other on this. Kerry Patterson, I will be having a judges workshop on my club in April, probably towards the middle or end. Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
And I'm just going to speak for Kerry and give her this yes or yes option, but you don't have to be a judge to attend those.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kerry would keep anyone out just because they didn't want to become a judge. It's good to go there and learn. Let's see. Vicky says, Ralph, we wish you well.
Thank you.
So, Chris, I run two dogs, one in training, and she's 1 year old. These things are going so fast. The other dog has 3 seasons under her collar. They're complete opposite on their reads, but we are getting through it. Hoping to get some more seminars and testing. I got to go back up. Seminars and testing. Also, Iowa guy here. We got to go to Iowa. Looking forward to the Alabama event. Will be my first one and can't wait for the learning experience. Man, they are awesome. And I'm not saying that just because we're hosting it. It doesn't matter who's hosting it. I love events. Like I said, we attended Duval's last weekend. Um, I enjoyed that. Oh, before I forget, we have someone that's going to be there with
Oh,
Dan's
absolutely.
gear,
Yeah,
Garmin, Chris Duck.
we
Chris Duck. He was at Duval's this weekend.
hopefully he'll get more inventory because we bought him out.
We dang sure did. Man, I bought some briar traps that are perfect for summertime training or early season that have some mesh in the back, keep you cool. I bought the Dan's orange vest, which is for me perfect for especially testing situations.
Got the
Um,
lightweight briar
that
jacket.
lightweight briar jacket with the
Yeah,
vents in it, man, that thing was nice.
yeah.
Um, Says
Oh,
Carrie Patterson is a volunteer. I'm sure she will volunteer to go live with you. Hey, Carrie, you were going live with me next week, and your response is yes or yes. Stacy says, I happen to know a good rehab nurse if you need one, Ralph. Hey, rehab is get out there and lay some testing lines.
yeah.
Put them tracking shoes on. You'll be walking like Kayla Tires first time. I wish we had that on video. Carrie put, my choices are yes or yes. Billy, where will the workshop be? It will be, the workshops will
That's
be
Milton,
at the
isn't it?
seminar. It's going to be part of it. We are streamlining the actual seminar part so that it is shorter and we will have more time for these workshops.
I think he's talking about the
Oh, the
judges
judges
workshop.
workshop. Oh, okay.
It's around Milton, isn't it?
Yes,
Milton,
Milton,
Florida.
Florida, Billy, not too far from you.
Yep.
And Carrie said, everyone's welcome. We can test some dogs while doing so. That is a great idea.
Yep.
Jason Smith says, I use those chaps and vests as well. Jason Smith is he is entering into our judges program as a candidate, and excited about that. Yeah, I want to give him some kudos, and maybe he won't like me sharing this, but part of the process is we want to make sure that um, our image is upheld to the fullest, and we are not promoting things that could jeopardize tracking. And when we contacted Jason, our team had already looked into some things, and there was something out there that it wasn't terrible, but it was something that some people may take the wrong way as far as tracking and baying. We mentioned it to him, and he immediately said, I didn't even know that was still out there. He immediately took care of it. Shows great character on him, and
Yep.
we appreciate that, Jason.
Oh, sorry about that. Chuck said the guy's going.
Yes.
Dan's guy's going to Mississippi also.
Yes,
Awesome.
we actually we spoke with him about that while we were at Duval's. And by the way, I got a Duval's hat on, Duval Catahoula. Got that while we were there supporting him. And Chuck and Brandy made this hat.
Yeah, cool.
So if you need some gear, some hats, and shirts and stuff, get with Chuck and Brandy Darby. So is there anything else you can think of, Ralph?
No. I can't think. We're gonna have maybe some more info on the workshops as we develop them a little better, and because those are going to be really fun, I think. Same way with the little field trial stuff. We'll hone in on fine tuning that too. We'll start putting some stuff out there in the next couple of weeks.
One thing I want to add is there seems to be a perception, or I shouldn't say perception. There's a thought out there that we are trying to go against or fight against the UBT.
Yep.
That is not true. I am a UBT member. Ralph is a UBT member. Um, I think I'm a member for the next 4 years, and I will likely renew when that is up. We are not anti-UBT. We are not fighting against the UBT. We are simply offering something different.
We
Another
seem
option.
to hear this more and more, and it's not coming from us.
No, not at all.
Where I want to finish my testing with them to get all my certificates and ribbons. So there's just nothing there. You know, I wish things were different, but it is what it is. But it's not. We're not against them.
No, not at all. Not at all. And
so, not sure where all of those are coming from, but we get to hear them quite often, and it's just not. It's not coming from us.
If you hear that, it's not the truth, and you can reach out to any of us, and we will let you know. Hey, we test dogs through UBT. We've advertised UBT events on our live stream. So if you hear that, it's not the truth.
Brody.
Yep, here we go. Here's Brody. Duval Catahoula's was my first seminar / testing. My judge, Jason Bell, was super helpful with the teaching and learning, explaining the process for first timers.
Yeah.
And Brody is one of the youth that you were bragging about, right?
No, that's another.
Oh, it's Brody. A different Brody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, Jason Bell had 2 Brodies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, Brody. What's the odds of that?
Yeah, really. No, he did good.
They just don't know the real Jason yet. Yeah. Ralph was stuck 9 hours.
Oh yeah,
9 hours
one way.
One way in the car with Jason, so 18 hours total. Whew. I feel for you, Ralph. Where is Jason at?
I don't know.
What in the world? He hasn't texted us yet. He hasn't told us what to do or anything. Man, we got to get on to him. Hey, we had someone join a membership while we were live. All right, Vicky says, "Great chat, gentlemen. You're doing super things. I also agree with the dual organization mentality. Clinch Mountain Captain talked to it. Is the first dual organization certified dogs in Pennsylvania. Let's go tracking canine game recovery service."
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, shoot. We encourage all forms. It's fun.
Yep.
And if you want to give a shout out to Dog Tracks.
Yep.
Dog Tracks was really helpful through the testing process. We love Garmin. We're not sponsored by Garmin, but we do love Garmin. And let's see, Hunt Stand. We've been utilizing Hunt Stand for mapping out the properties. That's
been really good.
Yeah.
That's streamlined it just in one event.
Kenny Lofton said that was me who joined. We appreciate Kenny. It does help out the calls, and it helps us be able to travel to all these places. And like I said, we don't
and deal with legislation.
Yes.
So that's going to be some money and time traveling, doing that stuff.
And that's what people doesn't realize. You've got to have the time. You and I, we own our own businesses. We can keep a pretty flexible schedule. Yeah. There's a lot of resources out there that you and I have a lot of connections. There's a lot of people within the tracking community that has a lot of connections, and we're willing to help.
Yep.
So,
and not just down here, any state that has or foresees issues, We'll do what we can. Not to say we can do everything, but we dang sure can try to get involved.
Kenny Loft said, I would love to see you guys grow in Louisiana. I'm in the Northwest area. Absolutely. And we do have judges in Louisiana. So if you do want to do some testing and you can't make it to one of these events, we do offer private testing. You can go on our website and sign up for testing, and Stacy will help you out and get you set up with a private test if we have a judge in your area and it's feasible for you to do. So don't forget about that. Um, well,
That's about it.
yeah, you got a lot going on tomorrow.
Yep.
I got a long drive home, and I do actually have to work a little bit tomorrow. It's
You mean John or you?
no, I gotta work with John a little bit on some dogs, and I gotta fish. It's a rough life, but someone's got to do it. So, Chris said, "Thanks for the live, fellas. Hope to catch more. I enjoy listening to you guys. Any and all info I can pass along to fellow trackers and hunters is always a plus. Hope to see an event here in Iowa in the near future. It will happen."
Yep.
Um,
I actually think that's going to be one of the next ones.
yeah.
Too much is happening. That
Yeah.
seems to be the next hot spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's been some, I guess you'd say not I guess concerns. Iowa barely passed. Tracking barely passed in Iowa, and we want to make sure that we can support the people of Iowa. Pennsylvania, I've been talking with Vicky about some things there, so we got a lot going on, but we're going to hop off of here so that Ralph can get some rest for tomorrow. Ralph and I will be working on all this quite a bit since he's going to have a lot of downtime. I'm sure he's going to milk this so that his wife has to take care of it. I would, but all righty, guys. Well, have a good night, and we appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.